a few words of Torah from Leann Shamash.
It's called As God's Mountain Trembled, and the horn sounded, and the earth was unstable, and the pebbles huddled close together, and the dust clung in fear to the earth, and the wind stopped its weeping, and the air stood still, and the lightning bolts stood at attention, and the ancient stones leaned on each other, and smoke permeated the air, and all were witnesses as God's mountain trembled. And the sun emerged from her golden covers and rose in the sky, and the moon was suspended as an ivory witness, and the stars in the sky blinked their assent, and the planets observed with bated breath, and dark clouds fiercely guarded the mountain, and the armies of the angels waited as God's mountain trembled. And the air was electric, and the dogs retreated with tails between their legs, and the ibex ceased butting their heads, and the field mice paused their dance, and the birds' wings were stilled, and the snakes retreated to their lairs, and the foxes halted their hunts, and the spiders spied through their webs as God's mountain trembled. And the smoke rose, and the babes' eyes watched, and the women held their children tight, and tots buried their heads in their mothers' robes and peeked out in fear. And the children pretended to be brave, and the men trembled and bowed their heads, and the old were humbled and wept, and the thunder's bellows reached the ground and were answered by the cry of the horns, and all hearts beat loudly as one strong heart, and all were in awe as God's mountain trembled. And it was a time like no other, and the people waited, and ne'er a breath was drawn, and their eyes were unblinking as they stood witness. And although none touched the trembling mountain, none were left untouched, and the memory of that time was forever remembered as God's mountain trembled.
Thank you so much, Leann, for that really powerful way to contextualize and give us coordinates for Sinai amidst all that is.